Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the Hot Stocks Outlook for April 12th, 2019. Hope you're all having an excellent week in the financial markets, and as always, plenty to cover. We're going to start here with a couple of new opportunities with Delphi and Incyte, but then I want to actually review several of these opportunities we've brought in over the past couple weeks to really highlight some important points of the VantagePoint software here and how this all works. So starting here with Delphi Automotive, really great template for how we want to use this software, really regardless of the market that we may be trading. But what we have here are daily bars. So these being, really daily candlesticks representing the past price action. So each one of those candles represents a full trading day. And against that data, you see that we have a black line and also a blue line. In addition to the bottom indicator, you see that we have a red or green configuration. And then at the very right-hand side of the chart, you actually have a predicted high and low for that trading day in the future that has not yet occurred. But what VantagePoint is doing here with these predicted moving averages, see we have this black line against the price action. That black line that you see here, that is actually a regular or simple moving average. So that just takes the past close prices from this one market, Delphi Automotive, adds them together, divides by that number, and is a good barometer of where prices have been over a given period of time. But obviously, we want to know where prices are moving going forward. So what we can actually do is compare that black line to this blue value on the chart. And for that value to be generated, VantagePoint is performing what's called intermarket analysis. So it's actually analyzing how other markets, so that could be other ETF groups, that could be individual stocks, that could be big macro markets like the S&P 500, the dollar index, but how all these intermarket relationships affect, drive, and influence the target market here in Delphi Automotive. And so what happens is it's actually generating predictive data in the future. So future for days in the future, market data in the future that hasn't occurred yet, and then it's building that data into indicators, thus making them more forward-looking. So what we're able to do is compare that black line to that blue value or that predicted moving average, and when that blue line crosses above, it's suggesting, look, the trend is up. Average prices are expected to move higher. Now, in addition, we want to see this 48-hour forecast here, this neural index, also in a green or bullish configuration, guiding us and saying, okay, over the next 48 hours, are we likely to see a dip, likely to see some more strength? And lastly, you're given this, again, this predicted range, predicted high and low, again, derived via that neural network process. So when we look at this in its entirety, we understand that, okay, well, we want to get in trends at the beginning of when these, crossovers occur, right? When that prediction says we're likely to see a trend reversal. So get in on those crossovers, and then you have a guide or really a roadmap moving forward of where you want to be a buyer in that market. And additionally, understanding, is the trend still up? Where should I be targeting as far as profit targets on the upside as well? And you see several entries in this market over the course of really just a couple of weeks so far. But it's getting to be a little bit of a mixed market. You really want to be prepared as far as looking for areas where you can even look to short the market, but certainly not miss opportunities to the upside. Here you got 25% move just in the past 11 trading days there, and you see a pretty straightforward move higher. And here recently saying, hey, maybe taking a little profit over the next couple days, buy below this predicted moving average, but really nice move so far, about 26% move or just over those 11 trading days. Now, let's go ahead and look forward here because we are seeing some areas of weakness. Incyte, we'll go ahead and highlight here, but also the utility space. There's some areas where you want to be cautious, and a lot of these stocks that have really done well over the past couple of months are really in danger of moving lower, and you want to be prepared for that. But you see here in shares of Incyte, we get this crossover, really strong crossover to the downside, neural index here to 0. And again, even when markets are doing fairly well, and you see things like the S&P grinding higher over the last couple of weeks, you see markets like this where, saying, okay, well, the trend is to the downside, look to be a short up at these predicted high levels, and that trend not getting, not really weakening here, right? You're getting a bigger distance between that prediction of the moving average and the actual. So we're going to go ahead and get caught up with this in a couple of weeks and see how we're going to manage that moving forward. But that's why we bring in these opportunities like Diana Shipping, McCormick, SkyWest, these things we've looked over the past couple of weeks so that we understand, okay, well, we can identify uptrends in the market and then understand with Diana Shipping just over the past week here, well, how do you want to manage that volatility? Well, of course, with those predicted trading levels coming through. So you see how moving forward, these levels are adjusting and adapting and letting you know that, okay, the trend is still up. You want to be a buyer, but adjust to these predicted levels and don't have stops and things inside of these ranges when you want to hold on to those profits. See a $3 stock, you certainly want to be prepared for that volatility and not give back many of these really nice profits over the past couple weeks. But you see here just over the course of this entire move, predicted low, predicted low, predicted low. So for a really cheap stock, it's very important to really be precise on those prices that you're getting filled at. And this is a great way to do it, having all that information ahead of time so that you can make sure you get the best part of a lot of these moves. So this market up about 15%, but just over really since the past couple of trading days, or buying at this predicted low here, market up about 6 or 7% just from those levels. McCormick here, very long-term established trend here. So last couple of weeks, what have you been doing? Well, the trend is still up. The predicted moving average has a lot of separation. Neural index bullish. Shorter term traders want to look towards predicted low levels, right? And you see that you get a lot of trading days like this where you see these predicted levels being hit, sometimes moving out, but then that close immediately moving higher and really filling that entire range, but not moving lower. So you see about 1, 2, 3, 4 more entries here as the market moves up and hits predicted highs in this very long-term trend, which we've seen over the course of really the duration of really the February now for a couple months, moving up over 25%. A lot of these food production stocks and things like that actually doing pretty well over this time period as well. SkyWest, so we brought this in last week, or possibly, definitely last week. Crossover to the upside here. You see you get these periods where you trade below the moving average, right? So you can trade above and below a moving average. So that neural index letting you know that weakness is likely to set in. You see it comes down to a red configuration here, and you're hitting these low lows. But the trend very much to the upside. Obviously, you only want to be a buyer or taking profits on those long positions. And you see how this works. And so you can be buying at these levels, but understand that, hey, these levels are actually slanting a little bit lower. Don't get caught, and understand that those are great levels to actually be a buyer in the market. But these things are going to adjust moving forward, right? So we don't know what the predicted high and low levels will be 3 or 4 days from now, but that's the information you need to, again, adjust and make these trading decisions. So really great opportunity there in shares of SkyWest, things moving a little bit higher here this week. Overall, about a 13% move to the upside, but a lot of move again, or a lot of room to be making money just over the past couple trading days, just over this week, much like some of these other opportunities that we've been following. Boston Beer here. So another one of these opportunities where, again, it's not all straight up with the S&P. If you just looked at the S&P 500, you'd say, hey, things have been trending. They still look pretty strong. But there are those areas of weakness where you can actually go ahead and hedge yourself, take out some short positions in addition to those long positions, and even be making money so that if the S&P breaks out 3 or 4% or starts doing something crazy, you've got things that are really going to be working for you in that environment. Here in Boston Beer, though, crossover to the downside, we've gone over all the predicted trading levels, right? So those predicted highs and lows that are coming through, and that gets you these really great entries and also this really great trade management over the course of these little retracements and things like that. But then look what happens over this past week. Gap down because you have a strong trend established, and when those trends are in place, you really want to make sure you're not on the wrong side of the market, because a lot of times there is no market before some new prices are met. So you're going to see taking some of those profits, rolling them into a short over here, as a shorter term day trade, taking a little bit of profit, shorting from those predicted high levels when they're reached. So really great opportunity here over a overall bullish environment in stocks to be making money even on the short side of the market. And we are seeing a little bit more weakness in the market than even at the beginning. So where we saw through March some stocks do poorly, like things here in Boston Beer, you're seeing a lot of those stocks that are up at longer term highs, and possibly if we saw some weakness in the market, you're going to see a lot of weakness in areas that have already been weak, but even some of those areas that have been relatively strong over the past few months. So about a 14% move to the downside. And obviously just, position like that paired with SkyWest or, Diana Shipping or, even shorting Incyte or Dell, any of these areas, but managing that opportunity as the market moves forward to really create that rounded out portfolio that can deal with pretty much anything. So we'll go ahead and round it out there for the Hot Stocks Outlook for April 12th, 2019. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck and bye for now.